News that Maid of Sker was receiving a next-gen update provided both an opportunity to go back and replay one of my favourite Wales interactive games and review it for the site. I fear a lot of people may have dismissed it as yet another barely interactive first-person scarefest when it first released, whereas Maid of Sker is actually an indie survival horror experience that punches well above its weight. With a narrative based, very loosely, on the written work of R.D. Blackmore, you take control of young composer Thomas Evans, who has just arrived on the outskirts of the Sker Hotel in search of his lover Elizabeth Williams. She returned to her family hotel to help her father revive the struggling business, but soon sent Thomas a mysterious letter and a mother's musical locket, tasking him with composing a counter-melody to its tune and returning to her as soon as possible. Unsurprisingly, all is not as it first seems. After a short, peaceful stroll through the surrounding woods, you find yourself trapped in the dark, blood-stained halls of the Sker Hotel. What follows is a tense 5-ish-hour adventure into the bowels of the hotel, through the surrounding grounds, upwards towards the attic, and back into the depths. Thomas must collect several music cylinders, and, if you keep your eyes open, the counter-music sheets from other composers drawn to the hotel before madness overtook everyone. For players that explore thoroughly, it's not a particularly novel tale, but the numerous phonograph recordings and diary entries flesh out the history of the location, the family's sordid history, and the reason for the madness that has consumed the staff. When it comes to gameplay, Maid of Sker offers a ton of accessibility, despite the nature of the genre and a manual save system. The control scheme is simple, puzzle straightforward, the stealth system forgiving, most of the time, and there are several difficulty levels to choose from. Safe mode removes enemies, with the exception of a final puzzle-based boss. Normal mode feels most balanced, with numerous enemies and scarce supplies, while easy is much the same, but you can take a few more chances. For masochists, there's the hard mode, with even tougher enemies, which are introduced earlier, and you're limited to only 10 saves. Regardless of your chosen difficulty, Maid of Sker focuses on its unfolding narrative, and assures there are minimal roadblocks that can jeopardize the pacing. As you explore, the map automatically updates, highlighting important objects like save rooms, locked doors, unexplored areas, puzzle-related items, and even documents you may have missed. Given the brief conversations with Elizabeth provide only broad goals, it serves to keep the player informed and on track. Maid of Sker strikes a good balance of gameplay mechanics during its short runtime. You'll explore desolate locations, gathering notes and observing gruesome rituals from afar. You'll sneak past the deranged staff while collecting key items to progress. You'll flee from scripted encounters and scramble to escape traps. It's a well-paced blend of exploration, puzzling, stealth, and scares. When enemies appear, often in groups of 3 or more as you progress, stealth still follows some basic rules that'll get you through unscathed. Move while crouched, don't bump into furniture, hold your breath in dusty or smoky areas, and don't let an enemy walk into you while you're distracted watching another. It's tense, but also methodical, and there are only 1 or 2 scripted sections I could have used with some better signposting to ensure the player knows where to go. That said, some stealth sections feel a tad contrived. A common example is a mechanism that requires you to flick a breaker, push the button once, flick another breaker, push the button again, and repeat. It feels like the inventory system could also have been fleshed out, maybe with an item limit that would force you to manage puzzle and healing items, and the charges for the singular weapon that can temporarily stun foes. Part of the stress of navigating the hotel comes from its clear Resident Evil-inspired layout. The basic floor plan, with multiple floors and east and west wings, the key hunts, the shortcuts back to carefully placed save rooms, with their own relaxing melody. It all feels comfortably familiar, yet at the same time fresh. That said, the level design, limited number of usable items you find, and the manual save system only feel truly utilized in the second half of the game. That, or if you choose to backtrack before the finale for collectibles. At this point, it's worth briefly discussing the new challenge mode. You start on the attic and descend along a labyrinthine path through the hotel to escape. Regardless of the challenge selected, which introduce variables like only using the axe, poor lighting, or tougher enemies, it can either be slow, methodical slaughter through several new enemy types, or a non-stop manic firefight if you're chasing an A-grade score. It's a quirky addition, and one that excites me for the prospect of future survival horror games from Wales Interactive, rather than the mode itself. The upgraded visuals, coupled with a smoother performance, is much appreciated. Similarly, the weapon and impact animations in the challenge mode feel just as polished as the rest of the experience. However, Maid of Sker's soundscape remains the most impressive component of the presentation, and really carries the experience. There's the haunting music, unsettling ambient sounds, distant footsteps to generate tension, but it also serves the gameplay. Few games have such clear spatial audio that you can easily approximate the location and distance of your foes. It's not strictly necessary to complete the game, but anyone with hearing difficulties might struggle during certain encounters due to a lack of alternative visual indicators. If you missed it the first time, or you're just looking for an excuse to return, this free next-gen update to Maid of Sker makes for a compelling package at an indie price point. Between the enhanced original and the new weapon-based challenge mode, Wales Interactive has a solid foundation that they could use to create a survival horror experience akin to the wildly successful first-person Resident Evil entries. Not only did I enjoy my return to the Sker Hotel, but I'm also looking forward to seeing what the team has planned next.